Pretty sure she's not. Pretty sure we still have to.
Sutra, we reverently offer the merit to great benefactor and founder of the doctrine, the original teacher, Shakyamuni Buddha, to the countless Buddhas and Bodhisattvas that permeate the myriad worlds, to the eternal three jewels in the 10 directions, and to all teachers of the true Dharma who transmitted the flame. Now we may repay their compassionate blessings. We further offer this merit to all the Dharma protecting devas, to the Dharma protecting saints, to the earth spirit of this place, to the temple protecting spirits. What we pray for is flourishing of the true Dharma, peace in the land, harmony among nations, tranquility within the Sangha, wisdom and prosperity for countless supporters, continual turning of the two wheels. May we with all beings realize the Buddha way.
All
Conrad Barnes, Dave Gavira, Bobby Ware, Tim Danforth, Renee Nicole Good, Morgan Hyde, Lucy, Michael Radcliffe, Bradley Charles Morse, Mitzi Evans, Matthew McNerney, Robert Leoman, Mildred Myers, Brian Tenzing, Javen, Gary Spoon, Dane Goldridge, Akiya Higashi, Marsha Izumi, Rona McIntosh, Rod Rayner, Julia Rayner, Masako, Kathy Clemenger, Elizabeth Starr Dillon Moron, Ava Louise Stenton, Alex Pretty, and to all those who have died in natural and human-made disasters, including acts of terrorism, violence, political persecution, and war. May they be serene through the transition we call death. We also dedicate this merit to Cindy, Daniel, MGC, Democracy Mothers. May the heart of compassion illuminate their lives. We pray that all beings may prosper and all misfortunes cease.
She
Sutra running
see you all. Okay. Good morning to you. It's a very cold day, and I'm Shin'ei, so we start on that end, and move across, and I say too, you're all responsible for getting through this. So, okay.
Yosei. Daran.
Jacqueline.
Christian.
Tracy.
Stephen.
Jushin.
Jiho. Unshin.
Genki.
Anu. Mandy.
Matthias.
Genpo.
Esho.
Sagan.
Audrey.
Luke.
Kizan.
Slavka.
Carrie.
Francis.
Zazen. Shin'ei.
Kishin.
Suiho.
Shinu.
Karuna.
Milan. Dawn. Francia.
Charles.
Danielle. Jordan.
Joshin.
KGN.
Christopher.
Paul.
Chris.
Olivia.
Oni.
Dara. Shuho.
Mike. Kate.
Sarah. Freddie. Natalie. Ayla. Ian.
Okay, did we get everyone?
Somebody just walked in back in the corner.
Oh, okay. Okay, all right, so we got everyone. And I don't know if people want to move over, if there's a reason to have these open seats, or just move over and gather closer together. It's a little easier for me to see you. And okay, I think we're all right. So, two things actually, a little worrisome, because I'm becoming kind of like Abbott Edger, because I just was gone for 8 weeks, and then now I will be gone again for 6 weeks, so this will be my last Sunday for about 6 weeks. I'm going to Sonoma, and I don't know, some of you know that I was a shuso for Sonoma Mountain Zen Center 2 years ago, and I'm going back. Mostly because I have friends there, and I promised, and I don't like to break a promise, but also because it's a pretty intense Ango, and so it's a nice opportunity for practice. I don't think it'll be that much warmer there, but it is a little warmer there. Very, very rainy. And the other thing is, I was thinking and looking through all of the classes and the talks that happened in actually a whole term since September, and looking for kind of an underlying thread, a question beneath all of our questions, where this all is pointing. And so then I thought again of the ocean mudra samadhi, which is a Dogen fascicle, and it's related to the Avasamsaka, a sutra that I really love, and it's kind of this ocean, and it's expansive in its own way like the sky, but it's round and deep and dark, and which appeals a little bit more to my particular personality and nature, and round in the sense that it's all inclusive, and everything that happens has a value, and also that it is this moment before the mind congeals into yes and no and right and wrong. So that's another reason that I really connect with this, this ocean mudra. So that being said, you can ask almost anything, not anything at all. Anyway, but what say you? And you can kind of.
Shin'ei,
Yes.
can you explain more about the answer before the right and wrong?
Yeah.
Or the this or that, or the... what that is?
Yeah, I don't know if explain is the right word, but it's really the important part of before I react and before I have this knee-jerk reaction. I don't know if all of you know these certain places that in each of us, are charged with energy, and we usually move forward and in our own way, or we press down and push away, and try to resolve a problem that way. But in meditation, and also more than just meditation, sitting on a basis that is larger than what we know and what most of us know in the daily life, the samsaric realm. So we're sitting on this larger basis, and that's just stepping back. What I have many times said, to stay and to wait and to touch this mystery, and something surprising, unexpected, and more deeply true comes. So I don't know if I should ask you how you do with waiting and staying. I might be in trouble, but since you're, so gregarious with me, maybe I'll...
And what was the question again?
How is it that you do with waiting and staying? How important this is, actually. It's the main important thing about meditation. It's really what makes the practice real and alive and of value. And I could say more, but I want to hear from you.
The best way that I can find that myself is that if I could see you and hear you and pay attention to what's in front of me other than my idea of what it is. So actually being able to hear you, ask the question, hear you and see you and actually move with what you're saying, I find that opens up the truth or the reality of with a capital R, the true reality. And then if not, then I come up with my own idea, just like I did right now. I judged it. I went like, oh yeah, then I come up with my own idea. But it's truly being able to be part of the whole and listening and understanding that I'm not the only one. Seems to be the best way for me. It's not the easiest way. And I don't, and I usually fight that all the time. But when I see something that's really important, like yourself, and hear something so spot on, at least in my opinion, it makes me understand that I'm in the right place.
Yeah, thank you.
If that even means anything. I don't.
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not so easy to do. So no one said this was easy. The mind is simple, but not easy. So, anyway, other questions?
Shin'ei,
Yes.
this is just actually a question about chanting.
Okay.
Chant. I know it might be a silly question, so I apologize if it is. Like when we're chanting and then you need to take a breath, is it okay sometimes to keep saying the words while you're inhaling, or do you wait? Does it matter? Like that's something I think about. Maybe I overthink everything. Probably an example.
Yeah, because how does that make you feel? Because in 30 years of practice, I've never heard that rule. So anyway, about
does
chanting.
it even matter? Like,
So, I just come because I love to chant.
Yeah.
There are some things about being wholehearted. Kyogen was very big about being wholehearted about chanting. So chanting with your whole breath and your whole body. It can be a body practice. If you love the rhythm, I love the rhythm. And I love the fact that I'm sitting close to the earth. And so these things intuitively are very meaningful to me. So, I do, it's good to take a good deep breath. While you're chanting, not to think about what the chant means, just let the words flow out. And other than that, if you want to take a breath and keep singing or not, is entirely up to you. Your decision, your life, so.
Great. Thank you.
I have another chanting question. I noticed how we start on one note and then pretty soon it drops down, and I don't know, shall I maintain that same note that we start out on, or shall I drop down with everyone else?
Yeah, I go with the group. A lot of chanting is body memory and communal. But, I'm not an expert on chanting. I've never done a study again. I just do it because it's something that I enjoy and something that is connected to the group. And also because I think the sutras that we chant, I have done, a good deal of working with them. And so it's nice to hear them and express them and say them. So that's my reasoning.
Thank you.
I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit more about the Ocean Sutra. I've never read it, and I'm also curious if you could talk about how you practice it in daily life, off of the cushion.
Off the cushion, I bring my meditation to everything in my life. Because in my daily life, is when the self becomes rattled. And that's when it's really important. So the sitting meditation is to touch that mystery, to begin to learn, something about this emptiness. But it also is to learn about myself in sutra study, in daily life practice, and to know above all the things that rattle this very particular self. And so, what I do is I bring that quiet and silence and feel, what's coming up for me, and learn to not get caught up. And it has taken me a lot of years, to really have a deeper awareness of something that we don't know and we can't see, but that I have experienced as carrying me, that knew better for me than I knew, and has supported my life as an artist, has supported my life as a practitioner, and has been helped to nourish the very many, many times that things have not gone well. So that's the best I can say, because the ocean mudra is all of everything, all being. So it's a way of saying all being, this expanse. You can think of it as the sky. You can think of it also as the forest, because it is something that's expansive and continuously. But I like the ocean, and the ocean has a lot to do with inner life and also my inner imaginative life. That's very important to me. So this deep inner psychological life. And I feel that touches that more, this deep dark space. Learning to be at home in the dark, learning to be at home with uncertainty, learning to trust things that I may not be able to explain, and learning to trust my own life. Do you trust your own life? And do you trust your own death? So this is the ocean mudra to me. So I personally respond to the ocean mudra samadhi, the thick stuff of the ocean, algae and fish and octopus, and actually everything, trees and everything is in this particular ocean. And nothing that happens to us, nothing we go through is not workable and okay. So it's kind of like nothing is a failed or a mistake or wrong, and certainly we are not all of these things, wrong and mistake and failed, or even right and great. You know what I mean? In an absolute sense, in the way we usually, in the way we usually think. So, the practice is really so important if we're going to come together and make the Canadian minister, a more just world. Okay, a world that is, more conducive to just living. So anyway, I don't know if that helps.
I'll press by you.
Oh, okay. Do I know you? I don't know if I know you. No.
That's okay.
Okay, all right.
I'm gonna do like at least an hour, I think, maybe, but I'm just joking. I want to ask a question because my sister, well, maybe now it's getting personal, maybe it's not so nice, but she wants to become more spiritual.
Okay.
And she sent me this podcast she's listening to. She likes the horoscope, and in this podcast they were talking about coming into the world with a soul contract that you signed to be a part of a family before you were born, and that you chose to come into this life to experience this circumstance. And she sent it to me and she said, what do you think? And I said, goodness, I don't know that I believe it. But I told her, I think there's some unfolding that's taking place in the world, right? Like I'm not a person who's, I'm a spiritual person to some degree. So it's not that I don't believe that there are things unfolding in the world. It's just that I wasn't sure that I was like, maybe it's that I'm a Sagittarius or that I signed a contract, suffer the life of my family, stuff like that. And so I thought to myself, what would you say to that circumstance? I don't know if you have any familiarity with this kind of new age mysticism or like spirituality that kind of circulates, I think, on social media.
Yeah.
But
well, you know, I don't know anything about astrology because I just can't do everything, but I love the stars and the moon and the sky. And the thing about astrology is time. And it connects, different changes that happen, and interconnects changes through time. So in that way, there's a certain truth to it. Also, there are, it does coincide with working through karma, but you're working through karma more through planets and stars. And these things are imaginative, and you can open yourself to values. And, like I love the moon. And so, I have my own, my own connection to the light of the moon, for, the difference between the moon and the sun. And then there are some, alignments, because everything is connected on the value of the moon and the value of the sun. And these things are kind of, you can read them through the ages, how different ages will, have very, very similar expressions of the moon or the sun or different planets. I don't know about a contract. I took art classes with a Hindu teacher, not because he was Hindu, it just happened that he was Hindu, and he said we choose our birth. So that has to do with when you die, okay, and you go through the bardo, and depending on how you practice, how you do, and what you, whether or not you, merge with Prajnaparamita or one of the saints, depending on your particular religious background, or whether you enter into the bardo of becoming and find a new family and new body. So that is teaching that's more a Hindu teaching, and it probably in the Tibetan Book of the Dead there's also things you can things you can read about going through the bardo and your karma determining, your next life. It's also that, we don't choose the life we have once we're here. I didn't choose, certainly didn't personally choose, a particular thing to happen to me. And so it's really more what you do with your life, than a contract you signed. How will you respond to the circumstances of your life, which are not necessarily fair. The relative world is not a fair world, but the Buddha world is, this is a world of a greater fabric of justice, where whatever your circumstances are, that you can make something good and true out of those circumstances and something real. So, and that's the best that I can do with that. I think astrology, we really could use to be more open to these things. You know, we're kind of snobby, you know, about this. And, you know I've read enough things and studied enough things of ancient cultures, you know, that it has more truth than we give it credit for. We're really very much on what we can see, and not so much about what we can't see. And I think we would do well, you know, to touch a little bit more or be a little bit more open to what we can't see and understand and touch. So I'm all for that, you know. And also I was at the Asian Museum, and I went to the Modern Museum in San Francisco. And I wanted to go back to the Asian Museum. I had been there only an hour with someone, the Roshi from Sonoma took us, but he's 90 years old, and he really couldn't do more than an hour, so I really wanted to go back. And I went to the Modern Museum in San Francisco, and that took about an hour to go through. And all of these artists that when I was in art school, that were such a big deal, and I really, you know, had mixed feelings about it. And then I went to the Asian Museum, which had all these really beautiful ancient pieces done by artisans who probably were not, you know, literate in what our modern world regards and respect. And you know, I was just blown away, you know, by something that I know as an artist to be moving and true and, you know, kind of like the expression of our Buddha nature. So, you know, every piece was beautiful in a way that I couldn't even describe. And I was really grateful to recognize that. So, and much different from modern artists who work more from, I think, their heads and planning and control and, you know, and not so much from the depth of life. So that's just my, so I don't know if that helps with your sister. Was it your sister? I don't even remember.
It was my sister. I bet I'll get to share this because we'll post it on YouTube. And
yeah,
I'll just share your answer. I think you did a lovely job.
Shin'ei.
Oh, let me wait. Okay. Although Abededja wasn't here, so we went on, so it would be okay. But
I'm thinking about death. I know we just had Shin'ei have a beautiful talk about death, and it's on my mind. A lot of people have died around me recently. I've been with people dying, and I'm thinking about, we hear about the importance of that moment of dying and preparing for our death. And I've kind of heard those words, and now it's feeling like, right, what is that actually? To prepare for our own death. There's certainly a piece about how are we living. There's that. And is there anything besides that?
well, and this is just my, I'm not there, and so I can't really say, but to me, Kyogen used to say that, you know, good practice is a happy death. And, you know, this moment before the mind breaks apart and becomes divisive into yes and no, right and wrong, and moving out into that space rather than stepping back into your already awakening, this mystery, you know, that is the difference. You know, between a death of a small self that is frightened and has no experience of this great unknown. I personally feel, and again, I can't say because I'm not there, but just from practice, of resting, what I call poetically resting in the great abyss. You can say it is the great vastness, this place that is, again, not known and, can't be described or explained, and trusting that deep faith will make a difference between a death that embraces, an unknown experience and a death that is resistant and frightened. And I also know that the work with karma, really makes the difference because that's what allows you to face, because you face that in your own life. Every time the self goes through something, a disappointment, a divorce, lose a job, or just, my own fussing with my own mania and judgments, and every time, I release that, or every time I go through something like that, is to the self a death, or the ego a death. And so that the practice itself, we really do know. We already know what it feels like to be released, or to step back into something unknown and unfamiliar to us. And I also, the other day, sometimes I have these wonderful experiences of being connected, especially to trees. They are consummate meditators, and they really know how to be true and to be silent. And I really felt like you're just going home. That's what Chosen Bay said when my teacher Kyogen died. She said, and at that time I wasn't as clear. She said, he's going back home, and to his natural home. So, it's kind of having faith in the cosmos, and having faith in the connectivity of the universe that we live in, and and the ultimate in non-separation. So again, no promises, but I don't want to die tomorrow. I like what I'm doing, but we don't have control. So, but I do think we can trust, and we can have faith, and it is also the transition called death. So there's no end. It's really just the end of a very particular, unique form, and hopefully, something new comes, something creative and new. So that's my take. So,
thank you again.
yeah, you've been coming in the morning? Are you? Yeah, okay. What is your name?
My name is Anthony.
Anthony. Okay.
Tony.
Okay.
Touching on the release you were talking about, as far as like the practice of, I don't know if you were meaning like releasing karma or just releasing the attachment to. I've practiced like Wim Hof,
And I don't know what that
and
is.
it's getting in ice cold water, and there's like really quick releases. Is that could that be paired with Zazen? Or should I just be doing Zazen as far as...
Yeah, I don't know what that is,
Okay.
but anything that allows you to let go of this grip that you have about how things are, and I'm this way and you're that way, and all of the endless, spinning and endless arguments and opinions and judgments. The self is really so much an opinion, not so much what's happening to us, but our opinion about what's happening to us. And it's not so simple, because it's also the world's opinion of what of who we are and how we are. And so we're kind of entangled, not only in our own karmic stuff, but in all of the karmic stuff that's around us. So every time we disentangle, these judgments and opinions and fears and, this getting caught up, in what's happening. What's happening is just happening, but it's getting caught up in what's happening. I like it, I don't like it. It's good, it's not good, and that's kind of where the issue is. So the ability to disentangle, and there are many, many ways to do this, even within Buddhism, all different kinds of practices. I had particular, very twisted, difficult karma, I think, and I really had to pay attention and know it, really even with my discursive mind, and know, here it is, I know this is what happens to me, so that I could, be able to step back, and not, get into, anxiety or depression, or not be able to even sit down. Actually, it used to get so bad, it was so powerful. So you can disentangle it, you can let it go, but every time you release it, I don't know, I can't even explain these things. It just, there's this wonderful transformation and this, this nourishment and this different way of seeing, and this knowing that in a lot of ways, things we already are and we already are doing, are it and a part of it. So, it's, there's no other way but this silence and this spaciousness. There are lots of people who do cognitive practices and authors that have endless ways of changing how you look at things, and that's important and helpful. But there's space within the difficulties that you have, and Zazen connects us with that space. And the practice of Zazen, and not Zazen where I'm doing what I'm normally doing in the world, where I'm really working to quiet the mind, I'm really inviting stillness, I'm really meeting squarely the things that come up, and little by little I learn to stay and to wait and see through all of these things that I believed at one time were so important or so true, and that's that. Without Zazen, I think it's the one thing that Buddhism has that is greater than psychology or other ways of disentangling, what we're entangled in. It's doable. It's not easy. From my point of view, it isn't. But then that's just me. Don't listen to anything I say if it doesn't work for you. It's just suggestions. But the truth of it is that it's the Zazen is really the basis of the tradition. It really, those moments in Zazen where we release or let go, even when nothing is bothering us and we're able to just breathe, that touching that silence and touching that depth, that really is something so real and true in the cosmos. And it, we live in the world, and it can feel to us like the world is it, and it definitely isn't. You get knocked enough in the world, and look for something more, and you realize that there's this whole other basis of living, something greater than we are, and you can call it whatever you want, God or Buddha nature, or but it really works. And the practice of meditation also eases and loosens that kind of stickiness. It does that as well. but you'll see, working and working and working, you don't just do that. You go out in the world and you suffer and you look at the suffering and you understand, you see through your part, in the difficulty. You read sutras, you talk to a teacher, all of these things are valuable with the Zazen. And one day these things come and they drop away by themselves. So you really learn to trust. You really learn to be who you are, this person that you are, and to trust. So it's...
I have a question, if I may.
Sure.
You said you're an artist, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I've been trying to draw,
Okay.
and you're talking about rattling the self.
Okay.
I mean, when I try to do it, I keep thinking, thinking of what I've learned from Buddhism and Zen, but there's so much pressure, and I think it's just the old, this isn't good, this doesn't look like anything, this blah, 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 blah. But it's so intense at that moment. It's like, wow, I just don't think I can sit with it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And get past it and get to that point that just wants to, have fun and
Yeah, well, it really is a challenge to sit with it, and but the challenge is what makes it worthwhile, and that's what I think contributes to the nourishment and the completion of you being, is that you're able to meet something that comes up from inside you, and is difficult, and but meeting it and staying with it and feeling it and finding ways to help it move along or to teach you. This is crucial. And if it's a judgment, then you're the only one who knows why you have that judgment. You're the only one who knows, what your relationship to drawing is and why it's difficult. And so you can begin to look at that as well. And what comes up for you. And keep a journal, if you like. I mean, why I can't, it's not easy. It's like Zazen, it's this big open space.
Yeah.
And it's not easy for us to be in a white piece of paper or a white canvas or a big open space. So and that's something we learn through time. And, we already are awake, and at any moment we can grasp and bring this together. But karma is in the body, and that just is very slow moving. It's kind of like bedrock. My personality, things I've learned, my skills, my abilities, and, all the things, all the ways that I would like things to be, and sometimes they're not, and how I resist or how I embrace that, So, but I wish you luck. Drawing is nice. You should really be enjoying that.
I know, that's what I tell myself, but then I'm like...
But there are games you can play about, what can I draw and I won't be stressed. I mean, you can just copy something in the beginning if that makes you feel better, and then slowly, challenge yourself a little more. Or you can do something with your left hand. A lot of times when I taught students, I had them draw with their left hand or with both hands, and that kind of takes away some of the stress that it has to be good and it has to prove itself to me. So, those kinds of things you can do too.
Okay, thank you.
We're okay with time. We have a few more minutes.
I have a question. This is a monastic tradition, and I think it made a lot of sense to me in my 20s and my early 30s before I had kids.
Okay.
And this, we talk a lot about like the gate of death, but I think there's a gate in birth for the parents, and it reorients you in the world and who you are and how you engage. And there's kind of a hole in this tradition, I think, around parenting because it's not meant for householders in some ways. Like the old texts, right? We don't talk a lot about kids, and I think sometimes when I've heard talk about kids within the tradition, it's kind of, there's like a glibness and not seeing them. Oh, they're bodhisattvas, they have beginner mind. You're using them as a teacher. I feel like that doesn't really see children. So I wonder what you think about this tradition and children and how we regard them.
Well, I don't know. Our abbot, has had three children and is now a grandfather of 3 grandchildren, and he's actually really open to children. A lot of monastics, my first teacher, Kyogen and Gyokoko, were married but didn't have kids. But Gyokoko went out of her way, Dharma Rain, and looked them up to create a Dharma school for children and children's practices. And I was a teacher in that Dharma school for 6 years. So I would say that in lay practice, and I don't know about strict monastic practice, and I'm not even sure, that they didn't even like women, so, birth giving was, but, without birth giving, there's no practice, and I have no children, but I can say that without birth giving and a knowledge of what it is to give birth, and without a knowledge of the feminine, there really isn't a complete practice, and I say that in a really powerful way, that if a man, wants to really complete himself in the practice, he really has to come to terms with his feminine nature, and that's not easy for men, and vice versa for women with their masculine, their, contrasexual drives. And so I would say I understand, but if, again, the Dharma is everywhere, and so there would not be any such thing as there aren't bodhisattvas and awakening in children. So this is something you can truly believe, and I'm not really well versed enough in how all these monastic places work.
I guess I wasn't saying that children are unwelcome or like they're not important to practice, but I guess what I'm saying is there's a lot of conversation or a lot of thought about a lot of things in the texts that we read. I don't see a lot about the experience of being with children.
Well, probably because they were celibate and unmarried. Do you know what I mean? And so that has its limitations. But, in the contemporary Buddhist world, lay temples are, really, I think even in Japan there's no such thing as a lay disciple. So, it's a very different system. So you may be right about that. But, in America, the change is with lay temples and lay practitioners, and then that has to include, being a mother and having children and taking your children and doing, all the difficulties and challenges of being a parent. Become a part of the practice. I know at Dharma Rain they had parents groups. And Dharma school, and so I didn't notice, any. And I don't know, I've never noticed it here, any prejudice about it.
That's not at all my question. I'm not saying there's prejudice. I'm saying, how did you experience the Dharma when you were with kids? Because you did it, as a teacher. Like, how were children, I don't know how to, maybe I'm not asking the right question. It just feels like there's a gap in the way I have been thinking about practice, the way I had been up until I had kids. And then I was confronted with parenting as work. And I said, I don't think I have a very good understanding of what the Dharma is in this work.
Yeah, because, being in everyday life, is, really wonderful practice. So, and I think, lay practitioners can't fool around, you know what I mean? Because, it has to work for us in a daily sense. So it would be appropriate for, caring for children, for the experience of being a mother, for, the inquisitiveness and creativity of children, also the stubbornness and difficulty of children. And, so I think it's an exciting area to look at. And when I taught kids, I did a lot of art projects with them, and I did, we had a theme, and we actually were very relaxed about it. It wasn't like Sunday school. We had a theme and, introduced them, to, particular Buddhist themes in, in children appropriate ways. We meditated like a 5-minute. I did the girls group, and there were 6 to 11 years old, and they still have a Dharma school today, and they have a Montessori school. So it might be helpful for you to look into that, and. So we meditated about 5 minutes, and then we talked about, the world as seen by children. So, and how a child, we read books and stories, and we did skits, Dharma skits. So, but not like Sunday school, like this kind of thing. It was very open, playful, and, I think a very positive experience. In fact, I was very envious of children having a Dharma school background. And why didn't I have that? You know what I mean? But they still have their problems, no matter what. Because now, some of my Dharma school kids are now grown women, and they still get messed up, even though they're in Dharma school. So I feel better. You know what I mean? Anyway, I don't know if that's helping.
I don't even know if I had a full question. It was just like a...
No, you should stick to your guns. If this bothers you, then it's important.
I don't, I guess what I'm not saying it bothers me, like, oh, it's an intentional absence, I don't see myself. I guess what it's just, like, it was like if we just, like, did not talk about death, and we were like, yes, death is also a thing you experience, as a human being living in the world, and just like anything you experience, it's like, no, this is like very crazy. Like having children, like becoming a mother, it's like becoming a parent, or regarding children in the sense of being their caretaker, feels to me like an intense gate, and that there's no like instructions on entering it. Feels strange. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, and that's like everything, no instructions. Absolutely not one, and everything. That's why it's so important. All of these things that you're saying. So, there's no book out there. The book is really day to day, how it is for you. And so, those are the things that you work with. I mean, how difficult it is, how crazy it is, how, crazy the world can be. That in itself is, a wonder, how I'm practicing here, and we have some of the things that are going on today. Well, how is that so? I don't know. So that in itself can bring up lots of doubts and lots of questions, So.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a few more minutes.
Is Mara the same consciousness as us?
Say that again?
Is Mara the same consciousness? Does he share the same consciousness as all of us?
I would think so. Actually, the Buddha, on his when he went through all the difficulties of sitting under the tree and his enlightenment, Mara was, bringing all kinds of problems and troubles, knew exactly what pressed and what would give him problems, and, he was a big help. And Buddha always described Mara as a friend, even though Mara is what makes our life problematic. So I would say, he is. So, it's kind of, it's kind of, how you see a problem. Whether I see a problem as something that's, to resist, and something that shouldn't be, and whether I see a problem as it's just a problem and it's here and I have to cope with it and be with it. And Mara is a good teacher of that. Brings me a problem that I say no, and this isn't what I wanted, and this isn't what I like, and then I really have a problem. And it's that idea, that's actually creating the problem. Once I decide to be angry or fearful, and I buy into the anger and fear, then my life is set as that problem. But when I'm able to see through the anger and to trust enough to step back, then I just have a problem, and it's doable, and I just embrace and move with the problem. And no one ever said we won't die and we won't get sick and we won't grow old, but how we relate to that experience is what makes the difference. That's the difference between Mara or a samsara and nirvana or freedom. So same experience, different attitude, different response. So, but it has to be real. You can't just say, "Oh, it's okay." You have to work it through. So.
Oh, well, since you looked at me, so what about emptiness? We use this word all the time. It's in chants. There's an assumption, perhaps. I don't know if there's an assumption that people have any sense of meaning around this word or this concept. So could you speak a moment to emptiness and what is that for you, or how is that for you conceptually or experientially?
Yeah. I think of, emptiness is kind of an unusual word, and you could think of it actually as openness or the infinite. And, the infinite means everything. And so it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm calm and I'm clear and I'm, just like this. The infinite is being open to whatever comes, and that's part of this emptiness. In the Huayan, the emptiness, the shift in the Huayan teaching was that emptiness was seen as also dependent, and emptiness dependent on form. And that emptiness wasn't its own space, and that was the mistake of the arhats, of making emptiness into a thing. And this is emptiness, and I know what it is, and I'm going to live in emptiness. So then I become this, what do they call it, when you're kind of in quietude and you're not, in the world. So to me, emptiness is this openness and spaciousness, and what flows through, everything that I'm doing and experiencing, and just a happiness a lot of the time, but it's not nothing. And I think we have to be careful about that. Emptiness is really everything. And I don't know, I think of this third level of meditation that Abbot Ejo mentioned, and he said it feels like nothing. But in my sense, and maybe because I'm female, I felt it feels like everything. It feels like something positive. And every one of us knows these experiences. Every one of us knows what it is, to have all these lovely days and to really feel an appreciation for the world around me. And so I think we don't realize that, all of us are participating in this already. But emptiness, I don't think it's it's really the sense of the expression of releasing or letting go, or just moving through things, without that contraction or that insistence. You know, if you wanted to say, then I'm definitely not free and I'm not open, you know, so, but there's spaciousness actually in everything, but it's really the dependence, this change of form and emptiness, you know, that without form there is no emptiness, without emptiness there's no form. So, you know, it's kind of what, you know, what flows through, and it's in having the problem and moving through the problem and opening to the problem that I feel an experience of emptiness or of openness or of the infinite. But it is always there, you know, and present with the form as change in the world, or as your deep resonance in meditation, as silence. You could see it if you want to define it in silence, in waiting, in just joy in being connected. You could say that that is emptiness or spaciousness as well. So, but it's not nothingness, not nothingness in the sense that everything is gone. So, and I don't know, you know, if this is touching what you're asking. You know, nothing actually comes from nothing, even though it just comes up, you know. But it's not nothing like, you know, desolate, because that would be a thing.
It's not a thing.
It's not a thing.
No.
You know, so that was, yeah, the arhats, and who made a space of emptiness, and that's only halfway, you know, so it has to be both emptiness and form, both and.
Right.
This Sambhogakaya realm, both and. The thing is, you know, as it is, the tree is a tree. I know it as a tree. I call it a tree. It's certainly out there, but it also is not. You know, it's something that's constantly shifting and changing, and in certain senses you could say that it's not there at all. You know, and yet we see it every day. So, you know, a mystery. You know. One last question, but it's not nothing. Don't. It's not nothing.
I don't want to go into a long response
Okay.
because of time,
Okay.
but I would just say, it is not emptiness, the word, the concept, also related to the non-abiding. There is no permanent abiding self, and everything is within context. Is this not part of
But the
emptiness?
abiding.
Nothing exists by itself
No.
as an entity. Nothing.
No, nothing. Everything is
And
constantly.
that's also
You know.
what emptiness is about.
Yes.
Yes.
And the abiding is, you know, when I'm caught. You know, if
Right.
we're just talking, everything is fine, and it's
Right.
open and empty, and yet it's here, it's an experience happening. But if I suddenly say, oh God, what did I do? You know what I mean? And I start spinning around in my head and I'm no longer with you, I'm no longer empty. I could say that I'm caught up, you know what I mean, and in samsara instead of nirvana.
Right.
So,
Provision
you know.
of self. Right.
So the same thing, I just see it differently.
Yeah. No. Okay. Great. Thank you.
But it's not nothing. That's really frightening to think about nothing. You know, I mean, you know, it's in a sense everything. You know.
Yes. I don't think it's nothing.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? 2 minutes.
I have a question. I'm new here. This is my first time, so I'm sorry. This is inappropriate, but I've been really struggling with what's happening in the world and fairness and what's good, what isn't, what the news. Yesterday to the point where I'm an immigrant. I've come from a different country. I'm from Bulgaria, and being in a place where I speak to my children in Bulgaria, and I catch myself being worried, like how would that be interpreted? This is the first time for me in this country. Do you have an advice? Or I feel sometimes, yes, I was paralyzed. That the news or everything.
You know, somewhere I heard a Dharma talk, and a Roshi or a Zen teacher that I respect said that the universe itself is moving toward enlightenment, and it moves towards enlightenment through us. And I felt that really made a difference to me, because it expressed something about perspective, and that even though we many times make a mess, and that things are a mess, that there is reason to trust and reason for hope, you know, in how things, and sometimes it's just so slow, the changes. But I really believe that the universe is intelligent, and that we can trust that intelligence, and no guarantees that we won't, you know, blow ourselves up. But I really place my trust in that and in the practice, and rightfully so, to be concerned about. And I'm not in politics at all, but gee, I could do better in the White House, I think, than Donald Trump. You know what I mean? So, I mean, really, it's really a cause for wonder. But it is, you know, like tornadoes. Asking why there are tornadoes, I don't really know. But it is part of the landscape and the fabric of being alive, and walking this earth, and being touched by, you know, experience, and touched by life. And, you know, don't be afraid to feel. You know, don't stuff it, you know, don't be afraid to feel the pain of it, and to do what you can with your children and with your practice and with your friends, to be compassionate and kind, and make a difference, you know, for people around you. So the practice is really, even though it doesn't always seem like, you know, it's useful, you know, for the bottom line and stuff, but I think that it makes more difference, you know, than we realize. I mean, that has to be the place to begin, because the yes and the no, and it's this way and it's that way, and I'm on top and you're underneath, or you're on top, this really just doesn't work. So it goes back to this place before, of learning about this place before the mind congeals into divisive energy, and being able to hold difficulties and joys with a lighter touch, or a lighter hand, you know, trusting in, you know, in the basis, even if they're taking me to, what is it, when they take you to the gallows or something, you know. So how am I walking to the gallows? How do I trust this interconnection, even if it's not working out well this moment for me, to learn this deep trust? And that's the best I can say, you know. So no one ever said it was fair, you know, but it can be true and good. So, did that help? Yeah. Okay. All right, stop.
Sangha
have an announcement. Many of you know Sangha member Tojun. Her husband has recently passed away, and there will be a chanting service for him, 30 minutes beginning at 7 this Tuesday, followed by some tea and cookies. So I hope some of you can join. Thank you.
And just a follow-up to that, for the Jukai people, we typically sew in here on Tuesday nights. I'm going to send an email later for those of you who aren't here, but we'll meet in the Jizo Hall. So, and if you want to join the chanting services, you're perfectly welcome to.
In about 10 minutes, I'll be holding the practice term orientation meeting in the Jizo Hall. This meeting is intended for you if this is your first time participating in the practice term. That means you've registered for the Rishin term program, but it's your first time. Or if you're curious about whether the practice term is right for you. So that will meet in the Jizo Hall in about 10 minutes.
I have an announcement. My name is Zazen. And generosity is one of our practices, an important paramita, the first one that I'm learning more about, and we get the opportunity to practice with that here at the temple. Both receiving, everyone being here, the Sangha, the teachings, and giving by our presence and our questions and our deep listening. We also have an opportunity for financial generosity. To offer dana. The temple is run on donations completely, so a little bit unusual. We don't have a membership fee structure or charges for any of the programs at all. So there's a dana bowl outside, I believe. And if it's not there, I'm not seeing it right now, but it might be there, or else there's one in the hall here. And you can also donate financially online. And there's also other ways to practice generosity besides the financial ways to be part of the temple, and again, just coming here and being together. Thank you.
I have an announcement. The Kanzeon Committee and the Eco-Dharma Group have organized a tree planting project. This is the second year we're doing it. A few weeks ago we had tree school, which was a wild success, and in a couple of weeks, not next Saturday, but the Saturday after that, we're going to meet here at the temple at 12:30 on Saturday, February 7th, and we're going to survey the neighborhood, seeing if we can't get some homes for trees. And then in March we'll have we'll participate in the tree planting. So if you have any questions, I'll put a sign-up sheet as soon as I can find a piece of paper up at the bulletin board, and you can sign up, or you can just show up on February 7th at 12:30. Thank you.
Quick announcement, my name is Shu Ho. I welcomed you to the temple today. If you have a question about the temple or the service, come see me when we break here for our coffee in a minute, and I'm happy to chat with you. If I don't know the answer to your question, I will send you to somebody who can answer it. Thank you.